What is going down, everyone? It's time for Mojobreak.com, the Hype, episode 250 in the building. Me, C-Rad, and Cody got you on this episode. We're going to talk some overhyped cards. There's a lot of sales. Things have been kind of pumped up, and we're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about the 2021 quarterback rookie class. Is it time to sell? We're going to have a debate. Season's just around the corner. Can these guys' prices go any higher? So we're going to basically go over that, debate that. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about on the show. We got some scam alerts to go over. And, yeah, thanks for joining. Mojobreak.com is your site for upcoming breaks. Mojobreakshop.com for your sealed wax. Guys, Cody, how's it going? Good to have you back, man.
Yeah, good to be back. It's been, it's been a while. I feel like the National has skewed my brain of, like, I have lost all sense of time.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, how long have it been out? Has it been 3 weeks? Has it been 2 weeks? Has it been a month?
2 days?
Has it been a year? 5 days? I don't know. It's hard to tell. But, yeah, happy to be back and healthy and ready to go.
And, we didn't get a chance to talk to you about it last week, but, quick recap. What did you think about the National, being that it was your first time there?
It was wild. It was crazy. Like every night there was something to do. I think if you had asked me that before the National, hey, you're going to be like, I don't know, 10 feet away from Lil Jon at like a big old like pool party and you're going to be hanging like and then Allen Iverson's going to be upstairs not saying a word to anybody and being really like, it was weird, but like hanging with good people and talking to new people and meeting new people, and it was crazy. It was a blast, and I kind of echo your guys' sentiments about Atlantic City. Yeah, I don't know if I
People were good,
go
location
back.
bad.
Yeah. I think I was a little softer about it. I was saying around the office today, I was like, if I was a local and, it's like, hey, it's like Saturday night, got nothing to do, let's go down to AC. Be like, yeah, sure, that'll be a fun night, go out, have a few drinks, play the slots, and then go home, it'll be a nice night. But it's not a place I'm, like, going to go out of my way to visit, no offense to the good people of South
I think
Jersey.
last week we said, like, it was a party in a tent.
Yeah.
Because, like, the party was great, but the location was a tent.
Yeah.
Sorry, people from New Jersey, but still itching.
It's just weird, too, when you're like, you land in Philly and you're like, this is a world-class city. It's got a huge downtown, tons of stuff to do. There's all the big sport. There's the Phillies are playing right there. Let's grab a cheesesteak. Like, this would be a great place to have the National. No, we got to drive an hour south.
Hour and a half.
What,
1 a.m.
Did you get a chance to, what did you think about the show floor, Cody? Did you get a chance to walk around a bit?
I did. I did walk around a bit, and kind of overwhelming, honestly. It's cool, like, the different stages of it, where you're, like, obviously the Breaker Pavilion, where it's just, like, loud, and, like, maybe this is a new development to you guys, but, like, I could not believe how, like, the sound emanating from every booth, the whoa, my God, just like the reactions were fun. And then like you walk and then you kind of get to like the older crowd. That's like the shop owners, the guys with the huge collections, stuff you've never seen. The stuff that like caught my eye was like the historical documents and stuff. And like, I think there was a guy who had like stuff that were like Civil War documents and stuff like that, and like notes written by Paul McCartney and stuff, like really cool mix of stuff, and then obviously the big booths of like the big names, Topps and Panini and Heritage, having the SGC 9.5 mantle was insane. The stuff at Golden and Heritage had was off the charts. So just really cool, really fun, had a great time. So but glad to be back home and to be back with you guys too. It's like I said, it feels like the National at this moment in my head. It feels like ancient history right now.
It kind of does. One very fun night was Thursday night, though, and I learned that Cody has he's a songbird of our generation.
It was a fun night.
Karaoke, and this guy's got some pipes.
Yep, and I found that out when we were at the Mint.
That's right. That was a fun place too. That piano bar was a blast. I love that place.
Yep.
Yeah, I got some videos to relive through. Now that Dan's not here, because Dan would not want to see himself, but I don't mind showing myself. And Cody had some good moments.
It was fun.
We did bye.
Again, I echo Dan's sentiments from last week, or you guys. I think we're all saying it. $2 a song. I've never been to a karaoke bar where you had to pay $2 a song. No, again, fun place. Good
I've actually
times.
never been to a karaoke place that charged you per song.
It's weird.
Maybe I'm off here?
No.
Well, they had a guy that was just doing the songs.
Well, when we went to the Mint one, or we went to the Mint in Vegas, and we went to that bar on Fremont Street. I mean, you could tip the guy, but he would pretty much just play you whatever you wanted.
He was there for the service, right?
That's pretty standard. It's like you're just kind of in, like, usually you tip, like, you know, but it's not like expected.
Mandatory
you pay.
$2
Right.
per
Well,
song.
here's my
Right.
theory. It's kind of like the whole thing, like if you invite somebody to a birthday party of your kids and you have them pay in advance, they're probably going to show up. So my thing is if somebody pays $2 and maybe they're 10th on the list, I know it's only $2, but they're probably going to stick around and do their song. Or there's like, the guy's like, oh, John's next. Wait, no Paul. You know, and it's like nobody's there anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the theory.
Yeah.
I don't know. but
Incentivizes you to stay, I guess. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so. I guess there's that.
It was a fun night there, though.
Fun night.
It was Tropicana was the place. They had
Yep.
a little karaoke spot. But that's old news. The Nationals like a week and a half in the past. Let's get into some overhyped stuff. I wanted to get C-Rad's opinion on this. WWE Select is coming out this week. Is the WWE hype over?
I'm gonna probably say yes to that question. We've already seen Prism drop significantly more than half of what it was coming out at, and obviously now these new products, these when they're hitting the sites that resell these products, like they're starting off at a lot lower, more in line with the prices we were seeing with the Tops when Tops had the license and were putting out their products. It's still higher than those Tops products, but definitely nowhere near the prices of Prism when it first came out.
Yeah, because we were watching Prism boxes WWE go to like $1,200-$1,300 a hobby box. I mean, approaching football, basketball numbers.
Insanity.
And now I think you can get a box for like $350 to $400. So
It's
that's
gone
a
way, way down.
significant drop. You think it has something to do that these are kind of? This is a debate we could have. This is an entertainment product, not a sports product.
Yeah, I think, man, just the hype going into it, I guess. I mean, you guys caught it pretty much. You and Dan saying that when this product was when Prism WWE was first coming out, it was like, what makes this product $1,000 more than the previous Topps Chrome product, which came out like 6 months earlier, right? It's not that the market had grown so much bigger for wrestling. The market is fairly big, I would say, still, but it's not like the market had grown so much for the sports cards of wrestling cards that it justified the $1,000 price point. So,
yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, because it's like you can't really right now with football, which we're going to get into a segment later, is that you can say, oh, Zach Wilson's going to have a great year.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, I'm going to buy Zach Wilson. But what are you going to be like, The Edge or The Rock or Stone Cold? Like, what are they going to do to make their card more worth it? You know what I mean? Like, then there's obviously icons and stuff like that could change the scope of it. But, complete opposite with like F1. F1, everybody thought that was just nobody's going to want it because nobody wanted NASCAR. And F1 went up. So it's like, Cody, do you think that people are going to be a little hesitant on culture cards going forward? Do you think this has left a bad taste in people's mouth, or do you think it just doesn't matter?
I don't know. I don't think it totally matters. I think there's a couple factors that were at play. One, I think maybe Panini would have been better off doing, like, what if I feel like the narrative will be different if, like, what if Select was the first WWE product coming out, and then it's Prism, because Prism obviously holds that weight, carries that weight. That name carries a lot of weight in the hobby. And I think that if they had maybe timed it differently with the release schedule, obviously they wanted to make a splash, so Prism coming out first, I get it, but, like, maybe if they had gone in a different route, maybe that would have changed things. I think there's also the fact that right after Prism came out, the Topps and WWE news comes
Well, and
out.
also
right before Prism
Right.
came out.
And
actually.
but also, I think more importantly too, WrestleMania was happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
there's maybe they were hoping like, oh, SummerSlam just happened, so there is still some momentum here with WWE. So maybe Select does a little. I think Select will do better than like some previous WWE Panini products. It's only been Revolution and Prism so far, right?
Yep. And I actually really love
I think Revolution.
I'm
WWE's
biased
good.
for Revolution, whatever, but and that's a super affordable product if you want to talk about affordable wrestling product. Also, I think there's a lot of what was going on where people were saying this is the first Prism wrestling, right? There's a lot of that notion that if it's the first of a recognized brand like Prism, that it's gonna carry a lot of weight. throughout its life cycle, right? People were assuming like with Topps Chrome F1 being the first year, how much that jumped up. With UFC Prism the year before, the first year of UFC Prism, how much that had jumped up. So people were just assuming the same thing was going to happen to WWE, and for a short moment of time, it happened. But now we're seeing like the big drop in that price point.
But I mean, you got to give Select some credit, some WWE Select, you're gonna have the first zebras, you're gonna have the first tie dyes, you're gonna have a lot of firsts within that too, right? So we'll see. Maybe this catches us by surprise. I don't think it goes up to $1,100 a box. No. But maybe it does go up compared to because it
has room to go up as opposed to Prism where it only had room to go down.
Right, and I think Revolution is a great basketball product, but I don't think. I think the people, like the WWE fans, love the color, love the autographs, love the relics and stuff like that, which what Select has. Yeah. So we'll see. But I think it was a perfect timing for Prism, like you guys said, with Topps, getting the license back, maybe Panini's only release, and then there was people that I didn't even know were wrestling fans going to WrestleMania that year. So it was like a big kind of like push, and I think that kind of caused a lot of guys in the hobby to buy WWE that would normally buy Prism basketball, Prism football, whatever. They're like, I'm gonna buy WWE Prism because this is pretty cool.
And I think that when you're to kind of answer your question from earlier about like what about pop culture cards in general is this? I feel like WWE is in that weird space of like sports and entertainment combined. So I think compared to like what we've seen, this push of like pop culture cards, it's the new thing. Which there's been pop culture cards forever, but I think it occupies this space where like it won't go down as much as I think some other pop culture cards might, just because it does still have a lot of sports fans who are interested in it. But I think what you're saying is, just things are kind of evening out. It's still like, if you want to be, wear your rose-colored goggles right now, compared to what it was 2-3 years ago, it's still way above what it was a couple years ago. And I think that's just in general, it's about like, you got to look at the long view that things were crazy for a month and it was unsustainable, but in the long run, wrestling, the fact that we're having a conversation, I think, about wrestling cards and about, is it still a thing? Is it still viable? I think that is that something you would have imagined even doing 2 years ago?
That's a start. I mean, and then you've seen at the National Topps with Stranger Things cards coming out.
Yeah.
Do we think Stranger Things cards are going to do well? I mean, what would make? I mean, I didn't get a pack. I know they were having that vending machine, which was amazing, and they have a really cool set. I mean, they spent a lot of money on Zero Cool did on which is a brand of Topps to get this name out there for Stranger Things. Do you think the kid? I mean, I would say predominant. I mean, I guess every Stranger Thing is watched by a lot of people, but I know a lot of teenagers are watching.
It's definitely a teenage brand. I like it a lot. But
are they going to buy trading cards of Stranger Things? And what would be the chase, right? I mean, autographs of these guys, I guess. Maybe
that's the appeal
from the show.
That's the appeal, is like if autographs of, I mean, Millie Bobby Brown's autographs in a lot of the Leaf Pop Century stuff, but a lot of these other guys who are becoming huge stars, like they're not really in anything. So I mean, heck, I like
Finhard.
Yeah,
he's a big star with the teenage girls.
And you know what? It's gonna appeal to like the 80s kids and 90s kids. Like, I'll take a Winona Ryder auto.
And I'll say like Zero Cool, they're doing the Stranger Season 4, but Topps has already put out Stranger Thing cards before, and there's a decent market for it, right? In terms of pop culture stuff, I still see it. There's a lot of room for growth there. And there's a lot of people pushing pop culture right now.
There
too.
is,
a lot.
And I feel like it's an underground band because we've seen like Cryptozoic do it too with Walking Dead, Game of Thrones and stuff. And like I said, it's like an underground band. There's a segment of people that are collecting it, but not mainstream enough where you can read it on the forums or people that are collecting it much. So
unless it's like Star Wars right now, that's really the only one. I think I've talked about it on some other podcasts. Like it's the only one that's like got a sort of viable year-to-year market like sports does.
That's another good question that we don't have on this slide that just came into my mind. The Star Wars Sapphire.
Crazy.
Is that overhyped? I mean, you got like Staley was in the shop and he opened a box and we were trying to figure out what's worth something. And I think there was just like the Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker cards that are numbered to whatever, $5,000-$6,000, no autograph, nothing.
I think it's the appeal of like it is the original 19. It's
a
sapphire
reprint of the originals.
Yeah, it's a sapphire version of one of the most iconic non-sports card sets in history, which is in itself like that's definitely something. And I think it would do well with like a Series 2, which also has a lot of iconic cards. If they do the same thing but with Series 2 of Star Wars, I think it would also do really, really well. But again, it's because there is a nostalgia thing. It's already viable. Like that is, even if you're not a Star Wars collector, you know that 77, that Series 1 Star Wars set is as iconic as any sports card set. So,
but if you look at see, this is the thing that I'm kind of realizing. If you look at the demographic of that, it's the demographic closer to the vintage sports card guys, right? You're looking at guys. When did Star Wars come out? Early 80s?
1977.
1977. So now those guys that were kids are now 50, 60. They can sit back and open and afford this stuff, right? Where you have maybe the Stranger Things crowd, they may be into it 30 years from now, right? So maybe something you can collect and sit on, and then maybe they're worth more down the line. But like I feel like the people that are going to create more hype is like the older generations, right? I mean, when it comes to pop culture.
It's obvious that Zero Cool, with that specifically that brand and Topps and Fanatics, it's obviously that they're trying to really expand this market.
Yeah.
With Stranger Things and Jackass and Gary V, they're trying to make non-sports cards almost a more normalized thing, and I think they'll be able to do it within the next few years. So to your question, is what's the ultimate like? How far can these Stranger Things cards go? I guess we gotta wait to see. I think right now, they're really cool because I enjoy the show. But like you're right, like how many other people are gonna be into like searching for cards for Stranger Things? Although when you walk into Target, you see Stranger Things memorabilia, everything like toys, figurines, keychains, shirts, hats, wallets. You know what I'm saying? If Zero Cool Fanatics can get those cards in a Target or something, I would imagine people would probably buy them.
What do you guys think? And I know we're kind of going a little bit off topic here. We're going to jump right back into the sports cards here in a minute. But when you think of non-sports cards, like in your head, what are the main cards that kind of come right to your mind?
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars is probably number one. I mean, wrestling kind of fits in that mold, but again, it is that
like a
in
single
between.
card, like one card that you would like think of.
Oh, Garbage Pail too. Garbage Pail Kids for sure. The Atom Bomb, the that first series of Star Wars, Mars Attacks. Think of that one as well, which is kind of now really going way back at this point.
Yep. I don't know why I think of the Jay-Z card that was inserted into the basketball set back in the early, the late 2000s. I think it was 2006 or something, where they really, I think it was right when Jay-Z took part ownership of the Nets, and then they made his rookie card. And then, believe it or not, that Kim Kardashian auto that was in Upper Deck, I think there's only 40 copies. That's insane, like the price on that. Mm-hmm. And rest in peace to Pete Davidson on that one. But, you know.
Don't feed into Kanye's toxicity.
I read today that he's dealing with trauma.
He'll be fine.
I'm like, he's going through trauma. They did it for like 7-8 months.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
I think of for me also, besides Star Wars and wrestling, I think of Marvel cards actually.
Yeah,
because that was a big part of my childhood too. Not only was I into opening up, random packs of football cards, I loved opening up those Marvel cards.
Did you see what I got?
No.
91, the original Marvel. I bought it.
91, the box.
The sealed box.
Wow.
The 91s.
I'm gonna have to buy that off you.
It actually wasn't as expensive as you would think. I think it was like $800.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, they were like $30 boxes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I so that's what I think of when in terms of non-sports. Like those Marvel fleers were amazing to me as a kid. So
yeah. Well, let's get back into some sports card talk on the Overhyped train. I'm gonna ask C-Rad this question.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you rather have these two cards, the exquisite triple logo man, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, 1 of 1 triple logo man, unautographed, and the Warriors triple logo man, or the LeBron James triple logo man? So you could have those two, or you could have just the LeBron James triple logo man. Seems like a no-brainer, right?
yeah.
Okay, well, you could actually those auctions went for lower on Golden
Those
than
two.
the triple logo man. So the Warriors triple logo man sold for around $350,000. I don't have the exact number. I think like $360,000.
I'll have to look it up.
So Draymond, Clay,
Hopefully went to
Steph.
a Warrior collector.
Hopefully. And then there was an exquisite triple logo man, looks amazing, of LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan that sold for 1.6. So you could literally have those two cards over the LeBron James triple logo man out of Flawless. So my question, and that's kind of what's kicking off this whole thing, is was there just so much hype on this card that it literally, I mean, you said 10 million, he said 5 million.
Something like 5, yeah.
I think I said 3. I was over it. And this card sells for 2.4, and then cards that were better are selling for less.
And what's funny is 2.4 is, again, put yourself back in 2018, 2019. Well, if you heard a card sold for 2.4 million, you'd be like, you're out of your mind.
Without an autograph
And
on
now
it,
it's a
too.
disappointment.
Yeah. But, like, you could have literally had those two iconic cards. You could have had the triple logo man Warriors, which is, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but that's the dynasty right there. That's 4 championships on one card.
I mean, yeah, okay. For us Warrior fans, that card is, you can't put a price point on that card. That's just, we would all love to have that card. That's a dream card. Thinking about it now, obviously the obvious choice is the triple Warriors and the exquisite LeBron, Michael Jordan, Kobe. But I'm wondering now, how many times did they do that LeBron, Kobe, and Michael in the whole run of exquisite? It's got to be a few times, right?
Maybe a few, but I don't think too many. Maybe less than 5.
So I guess you can make the argument, if you're on the other side, that there's only one triple logo LeBron right now, with him on
now.
3 different teams, the 3 teams that he won championships with too.
And I think too that the value of it also comes from like 3 different players. You would think like, okay, 3 different legends, like you would think that's more, but I think also the fact that it's one guy where people are LeBron collectors, I think that also I think that kind of spikes his market.
Yeah, helps that he won a championship with all 3 too.
Well,
exactly.
Okay, so like, and I know he's been on the Cavs, the Heat, and the Lakers, so that encompasses his whole career. But what if he goes to the Suns? Does that card devalue now? You know what I'm saying?
The first quad logo man coming soon.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Because like, if he doesn't remain on any of those 3 teams, which is a good possibility, he leaves the team.
How would you even? Could you even?
That would have
fit
to be a book at that point.
Yeah,
It would have
exactly.
to be a book.
Well, we remember from maybe the second or third year, maybe the first year of Immaculate, where it had the 6 logo mans.
Yeah.
It was 3
Wild.
on each side. I believe it was all Thunder on one. So there was like Durant, Westbrook, somebody else, and then I think.
And that was from what product was that from? That was from
Immaculate.
Oh, was it Immaculate?
Yeah.
That was Immaculate. Wow. Okay.
Then they're like, why did we waste 6 logo mans on one card? So they don't do that anymore. But yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm just thinking. Like, if you own this card for $2.4 million, you hope he never leaves the Lakers, right? You hope that he stays in the Lakers.
I don't know if I hope. I just hope they don't make another one. How about that? I hope just they don't make another triple or even a quad.
Oh, I don't know. Do you think we live our whole lives with LeBron James exclusive to Upper Deck? Do we think that? What's the over/under on that happening? That he never signs an actual licensed deal with a manufacturer.
Gotta be
If
low
anybody can
at
pull
this
it off,
point.
I feel like Fanatics could pull it
Right.
off eventually. I would obviously as collectors we would all love to see that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe his relationship with Upper Deck's too good. I don't know.
Well, because here's the thing to keep in mind. I think a lot of collectors don't realize this. The only reason Panini has pictures of LeBron on cards is because he is in the NBA.
Yeah.
So he's part of the Players Association. So his photos can be used. That's why you don't have autographs. He's an exclusive autograph signer for Upper Deck. But once he retires, there will be no cards of LeBron anymore. No current cards being made.
I was thinking about that. Couldn't he technically, because a lot of retired players do this, couldn't he technically still just sign a deal with the NBA PA where they can still use his likeness?
Yes, but then at that point, why wouldn't you just try to get him for his autographs too?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is what they're going to do. No
That's what I'm
doubt.
thinking is like, once he retires, he's probably going to be like, he's going to have more time. He's going to be thinking about what he's going to do for his legacy. And he may be like, well, why am I mean, Maverick Carter owns part of Mitchell and Ness with Fanatics, which is his right-hand man, right? So it's just, I mean, I know he's had this long-standing relationship with Upper Deck, and Michael's there, and that's probably how it all happened. But at some point, it's like, are you tired of signing, like, when you're on high school photos? And,
Yeah. The LeBron who signed that deal with Upper Deck is not the LeBron
Right.
of today. The LeBron, the businessman, the guy working with Maverick Carter on all of these brands he's got, the shop, and all these. His brand has completely changed. So it's I can't imagine. He's going to do something after he retires where he figures it out. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if he's just like, all of my likenesses is going to be sold through my brand, period.
Right.
You have to buy it through my website. I'm not making a deal with Fanatics. I'm not making a deal with Upper Deck. It's me.
Right.
It's through what? Is it Undisputed, I think, is his
Sure.
brand.
Yeah,
I
he's
could
an
see
entrepreneur. Yeah. I mean, and it could be a situation where, like, you look at Tom Brady and he's like, he's in 2019 flawless, but he's not in 18 flawless, and then he's not in 17, and he's not in 22 flawless either. So it's like, I think Panini will pay his going rate every other year where they need him, and like put like 10 or 20 autos in there, right? So it could be a scenario with him where, like, you know, Fanatics calls whoever his agent is and gets, you know, 10 or 20 in X amount of products or whatever they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be they buy Panini and they make National Treasures, or they're using Topps Chrome or whatever. I mean, we already talked about it on an older episode, but, you know, once Fanatics gets the license for basketball, you know, 0304 Chrome throwback is going to be in play.
Oh yeah.
And then
Would
you
love
might
that.
even have the possibility of Bronny Jr. at that point too. Maybe Bronny Jr. in an 0304 Chrome design with his pops. I mean, it's going to be wild.
That's
wild
the
times.
dream. That's totally the dream.
Because I actually had a friend of mine who had, I don't know if you guys remember this set. It was called All Time Greats. And it was like by Upper Deck. And it was like, I think it came out in like 12 or 13. And there were themed boxes. So you'd open it up and it'd be like, oh, Larry Bird. So you got Larry Bird auto and like 5 Larry Bird cards. And then there'd be like LeBron James, of course. And then there'd be Michael Jordan. And then, you know, all their exclusive athletes. But they didn't have the NBA license, so it was all collegiate stuff.
I remember the product.
So he actually has a number to 23 dual LeBron signed and dual Jordan on it as well. So Jordan, LeBron, dual signed number to 23. He graded it, got a 9.5, but it's LeBron on the you know, the Irish or whatever, the high school, and then of course Jordan, North Carolina. So he had it on eBay for a while, and somebody offered him like I think 14 grand, right, for it. And he's like, would you sell it? And I'm like, at first I was like, I don't know. It's hard to get LeBron and Jordan together on card, right? But then I'm thinking about it. What if eventually they do get the license and then they have them sign license stuff?
All that collegiate stuff is gonna
Right,
be like
so I'm
dumpster
like,
fire.
you know,
Not dumpster fire, but it's gonna go down.
It's going to go
LeBron,
down.
yeah.
I mean, it's LeBron and Jordan. You're probably pretty safe.
Yeah.
but
Still LeBron.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, those are two of the top two.
I said
arguably.
dumpster fire, like it's gonna go down to like $500.
Yeah, that would be the day.
Bargain bin, MJ and LeBron.
Yep, right.
Get him while he can.
I mean,
Fire
the
sale.
conversation when I came back into the hobby in 2011, 2012, the conversation was, I remember it being like, dude, like the market is getting oversaturated with LeBron and Jordan autos.
Yeah.
Back then, even when it was just college stuff, they're like, this is gonna dilute the market of theirs, and then a couple years later, they just stopped signing, or
Yeah,
Upper
those
Deck stopped
things-
making products.
Used to be able to get the worst one out of Exquisite was that real big thick one, and it was like a shadow box. And then Michael Jordan's auto was in there, and they was like $200-300 back then.
Yep.
Now I think you can't even touch one of those for like $5-6 grand, $7 grand on a card.
Yep. I remember that, and obviously still out of my price point back then, but I used to look at those and be like, dang, I really want this LeBron auto for $200-300. I really want this Jordan auto for $300, but even out back then, it was out of my range. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what sucks is that would be in my price range now, but I didn't have the money then.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like,
Yeah.
Can I go
And then
back
you
to
could
the-
get like Kobe autos for like 150. Like I think the lowest Kobe autos would drop to like around 150-ish.
dude. Yeah, the
At
Prism.
the
Prism
the
one,
low
remember?
end stuff was around
Yeah, or, like,
150.
Prestige or something.
So that was these guys were affordable in like 2012, 2013, even 2014, part of 2014.
That was a lot of drama when the news hit. Obviously the tragic news about Kobe.
Yeah.
And how many people started buying the buy it nows, and how
Yep.
many people didn't honor those prices.
Yep.
That was a big thing. As people were buying. I don't know what's worse, because I did buy one, but I wanted to buy one because I knew they were going up, and I wanted to keep one.
Yeah.
And I bought one, and I got refunded. But the guy would have been happy with the price prior to the tragedy.
Yep.
So that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of tough. I don't think we've ever talked about this with you, Cody. I mean, what would you do if you have like, if you had a Kobe that's like, okay, the market's 3,000 on this Kobe that I have right here, and I'm willing to take 3,000. But then he passes and somebody buys it, and then you're like, well, could have got more, so I'm canceling your order. I mean,
yeah, you can't do that. Like, I think it's like,
It was happening by the hundreds that day.
Oh yeah, I get it.
By the thousands, maybe.
But like, if that price is listed at that, like, I'm sorry, like, that's what it is, and like, and obviously them backing out, there's a lot of, it doesn't look good. It's a bad look. I think we were saying on the day of when we were leaving the National, Bill Russell passed away the day of the National, and I was just thinking, like, somebody is out there who's got a Bill Russell in their thing, and they're like, they saw that news and they slapped a new sticker on there real fast. And I don't know, I get it, but there's still a part of me that feels icky about it. So it's, I would say, just in short, like, if that's the price, you have to honor it, like, period. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, and don't ever, the one thing I've hated, and we haven't brought this up on an episode in a while, but we used to bring it up a lot, is don't list your card with RIP right after he dies. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. If you have to sell it and you understand you want to sell it, just put it up there. Just don't put RIP. Then you're like, I'm capitalizing off somebody's death. That's just terrible.
Yeah.
But back to the overhyped cards. I noticed you put a Wander Franco card on here.
I did.
And I want to know your reasoning.
I think that just in general, this has kind of always been my stance with baseball, is I get that baseball cards, that obviously the first Bowmans are the ones everybody wants, but I think a lot of times it's just like you see so many first Bowmans of guys who 80 to 90% of the time amount to very little in the major leagues, and we're spending so much on them. Meanwhile, there's Topps Chrome rookie autos of some of these guys who are all-star guys, MVP candidates, who you could buy 3 of them for the price of a first Bowman auto of a catcher who, the moment they arrive in the major leagues, are going to have 2 or like a week of really high sales, and then no one will care. Like, Adley Rutschman's having a great year. I haven't looked at the numbers, and maybe somebody's going to say you're wrong, his stuff has gone up, but I would bet a lot that his numbers, his first Bowmans have gone down since he's made the majors, even though the Baltimore Orioles are like half a game out of a playoff spot, and they have been a completely different team since he got called up. So just in general, that's always one where I'm like, the moment they get called up, just sell it. Yes, it could be Mike Trout, but like, to me, those are always overhyped, where it's just get out while you can if you've got something good for a prospect for baseball, because the likelihood is within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the value of it is going to plummet.
Yeah, I mean, look at guys that got in on Tatis at heavy prices. And, I mean, I'm sure he'll be fine and he'll come back.
Right.
But, like, if you look at the prices right now, you're like, ooh, you're taking a bath.
For a while, I was actually thinking, I was big on, like, Tatis is getting to the level where he is the Zion of baseball, because he's always hurt and he can't. But his price is maintained. But now it's actually funny, like with the Padres moves, he might actually not be a bad investment all of a sudden.
Well, and that's the other thing about these prospects, is how often do they remain on their same team?
Yeah.
I mean, none of the. I mean, now you got Soto, which we all love, and now he's on a different team.
Well, we just talked about it. There's, speaking of the Padres, it's like suddenly there's guys who, especially because there's a lot of high-end prospects on the Padres through the years, C.J. Abrams and Robert Hassel and these guys. I was actually collecting some Robert Hassel, and now he's on the Washington Nationals. And, not that it's... guys can maintain their value on different teams. We saw it with Tatis, but yeah, it's especially with how they can bounce around. And I think teams in recent years, especially with what's going on in the NL West, where it just is kind of an arms race at the moment. Like, these prospects, it's more volatile than ever. Like, it's hard to lock down a guy and hope, okay, this is going to be the team that this guy plays for this entire career. You just kind of have to. In a lot of times, you just kind of have to assume that especially if they're on a good team, that they're probably going to get dealt at some point if they got drafted by a competitive team.
And and I never even thought about it from like a newbie perspective. Like, say you're watching Tatis like last year or whatever year, he's doing those jumping catches and he's hitting home runs and he's flashy, and you're like, I'm going to look for his best card, and then you're like, White Sox? Like, maybe you're a kid, you're like, that's probably not the right card. You know what I mean? Because you're just, all you know is that he was on the Padres, right? So yeah, some of these Bowman. That's why, you're right. It's like surprising that sometimes the Topps Chrome should outsell, because that's usually the team that they're going to be on for at least a while. right?
Yeah.
You know,
and I
initially.
always see it like, if you've got that Topps Chrome rookie, to me, it's like, you made it. Like, yeah, maybe you don't pan out, but like, you made it. You got to the big leagues. So yeah, and again, you want the first card. I get it, but I reiterate it all the time. Just the safest bet is just get those cards sold the moment they hit the big leagues, because it's just. It is like clockwork. The moment you get up there, you're going to have a nice bounce, and then it's just going to tumble downward, unless you're Mike Trout, unless you're Fernando Tatis, unless you are the 1% of the 1%.
And you could kind of say that about most sports, maybe with the exception of quarterbacks in football. But, you know, you look at basketball. If you sold LaMelo last year, you're doing better than you are this year. If you sold, obviously Zion. Even John Morant, who actually has been progressively getting better, never topped his rookie year prices. It's like the hobby gets around a guy for a year, and then, oh, wait, there's the next guy. Okay, now we're going to go to the next guy. Oh, now we're going to go to the next guy. So it's like, you know, Luka might be the one guy that people still rally around, because I think so many people got in during the Luka year and the hype, and all the new people coming back in, these sneaker collectors and stuff, all came in when it was Luka hype, and they all have the cards. But it's like the last 5 years of basketball. Look at Donovan Mitchell and Jason Tatum. Those prices don't – you've got Mobleys and Jalen Greens going for more than those guys. So, you know, from a flipping perspective, it's almost best if you are in it to do that. You're not in it to collect, to almost flip before their rookie year runs out. So,
yep.
Now you got some cards here, some big boy cards out of my price range. But, man, got the Brady champ ticket, the Honus Wagner 2, and, of course, the Mickey Mantle 9.5 from the Rosen find, which is an incredible story. Have you heard the story about that, where the guy basically bought, like, where this Mickey Mantle came from? I guess a guy found an attic full of sealed boxes of 52
wow.
and bought it, opened them all up, and this was the best one. So I guess he sold the whole thing. I think he sold this mantle for like $40,000. And he always wanted it back. And I believe he bought it back for like $100,000 later on from the guy, because he's like, he remembered how great it looked. No, I don't think it was graded yet.
Okay.
He just remembered seeing it. I could be not doing justice to the story, but I think it's out there. The guy's name is Mr. Mint, very famous in the 80s and 90s, and he was the one that discovered this collection and then kind of pieced it out and then was like, I want that. That mantle I saw was perfect. I want that back. And got it back, and that's where it is now, 9.5. 6.2 million is what's currently sitting at with 1 week to go. 9.5. I don't like the black tuxedo. I wish it was PSA. Sorry, SGC.
I like it.
You like it?
I'm coming around to the SGC slab a lot. Now I don't, however, still like I still don't like when it has an autograph and they have that separate tag for the autograph. I don't like that when it's the single tag up at the top.
Yeah,
I like that. But when, you know, sometimes I'll add the extra auto grade on the side. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But just in general, I think vintage looks good in it. Yeah, obviously I still do prefer PSA slab, but SGC is definitely growing on me.
I think the SGC slab for the tobacco card, as seen here on the Honus, it looks good because the card's smaller, right? So it has to kind of take up the rest of the space. I bet you if HGA graded that, they'd somehow find a way to make a mini slab, right?
Please no.
Just a tobacco.
Please God
slab.
No.
Could you imagine
just a mini
somebody
slab.
getting, and it's all like, oh,
it is like
got
hella
the
tiny.
team colors, and
You use a magnifying glass to read it.
They'd probably have a cigarette on the in the background of the slab somehow.
Yeah.
And it'd be like HGA, and then it's like tobacco. But yeah, that's a 2, man. 7.2 million.
7.2. Yeah, guess what? The
And that's the record now, right? That's the record, right?
That is the new record, and but we're saying already it's projected the mantle's going to go up. They've been saying 10 million, but 6.2 with a week left. That's a lot of ground to make up. And again, it's the biggest bids come in at the end, but that is a lot of ground to make up in a week to reach that 10 million mark. But it should not be disappointment.
What was the previous Wagner that sold that had the record? What grade was it?
It was
like
probably
a
the
1?
Gretzky Wagner. I don't even know if that one was graded. You might want to look that one up.
Yeah.
It's owned by the Diamondbacks owner.
I believe there was like a 4 or 5 million one pretty recently, I feel like. But
there's very few copies in existence.
Yeah.
That's why, because Honus did not. He signed up for the cards, but he didn't know they were going to be in tobacco products, and he didn't want to be associated with tobacco products.
So he made them pull a bunch of them.
Pulled a bunch of them before they even made.
Okay,
print.
that makes I remember hearing that story. Obviously, I've heard that story 1,000 times in the hobby, but yeah, I mean, the question is are these 3 cards worth the hype, right? Is that what we're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say yes, because all I've been told since I've been in this hobby is that these are the three. Like these are three of the most iconic sports cards, or investments that you can make in sports cards, like the Honus, the Brady contenders, and the Mano 52. Like these are like if you're going like, you know, the top of the top, like at least top 5. These 3 are in it. It got to be.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at this, right, and I'm going like, the Brady looks like a great deal, right?
Right? 700. It's probably good. That might
yeah.
reach $1 million.
But yeah, it is a great deal because you wait 100 years from now, how much is that Brady going to be worth?
That's what I'm saying, right? Because like Mantle, obviously a great champion, but doesn't have a lot of records, right? I mean, he has records, but you know, he was baseball cards, and I get why Honus Wagner, obviously a Hall of Famer too.
Yeah.
But Brady's the GOAT.
He's a GOAT.
And will anybody ever have 7 Super Bowls?
Hear me out.
6 or whatever.
Hear me out on
6
this too.
Or 7.
He has 6.
No, I think he has 7, doesn't he?
He has 6.
See, we don't even know he's so mad.
No, I
Joe
believe it's
Montana
7.
has 5,
I
right?
believe it's 7.
No, Joe Montana has 4.
Oh, damn,
So,
he been passed him up then.
Oh, a long time ago.
Hold on, okay.
It might be 6. I think he had 5 with the Patriots and then 1 with the Bucks, right?
We have to.
He wins so many,
That's
we
sad.
forget how many.
There are
commenting
so
right
many
now.
people screaming at their.
I just know.
Hey, once he passed Montana, it's like we're not keeping track anymore, because nobody else has more championships than him. Another thing to think about is that the reason why these 2 baseball cards are so iconic as well, not just because of the players that are on them, but because of the scarcity of both of those.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. And then you can make the same argument for that Contenders Brady, because how many other rookie autos does he have? And then how many contender rookie autos, just the base versions, does he have? It's not many.
This is the number to 100 version, so
That's-
you're safe there,
yeah.
right? There's only 100 copies, maybe. And then, the base version, maybe 300, 400, so there's maybe only 500.
So the scarcity
existence.
applies, funny enough, to the Brady card as well.
Right.
So 100 years from now, these are going to be impossible to find.
Yeah, it almost is like, let's sell everything and just buy Brady cards, right? Because, I mean, and it's like...
If you want to leave something to your kids, and like if you want to just pull all your other investments, like property and whatever, I'm not financial advice, obviously, but if I had this type of money, I would at least think about getting that Brady.
Yeah, because, I mean, and plus it's also like the first kind of autographed, like, I mean... I want to say Contenders, the Peyton Manning was first, obviously, in 98, the autographed Peyton Manning. I want to say they started, and I could be wrong, I'm not a really historian when it comes to late 90s stuff, but I want to say 96 might have been the first autograph, or around that time. But this is by far the first biggest autograph that ever happened.
Yep.
And he was like a sixth rounder, so it's like nobody even really... There was probably people that sold this card for dollars back then.
Yeah. You know what blows my mind about that Mano too is that obviously we don't know what it's gonna go for, but it's gonna be between 7 to 10 most likely. And then you think about the baseball owner that owns the PSA 10. Yeah. Like what do you think that card is worth, dude?
Absolutely ridiculous amounts. and I think
worth more than the Diamondbacks.
He probably. Honestly, I would say the Diamondbacks' value, part of it is probably that collection of baseball cards that he's got.
Just that PSA 10 Mano, dude, because this is hard to get already in itself. 9.5 from SGC for a vintage, like all white. You know what I mean? White borders and like perfect corners, pretty much. A PSA 10.
I don't even want to know. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
and
disgusting.
he has the Willie Mays Bowman in a 10 too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I mean, he's literally got, the best collection of anybody.
And I think in general, like to kind of put a bow on this, like. Look, I think like 95% of the audience is like, I'm not going to be able to buy a Wagner or a Mantle or a Brady. But I think the point is, like, compare this to the cards we've been talking about on the show, the WWE and the prospects and all this, like,
Lebron Triple.
right, all these things that are like hot right now. It just, I feel like every time we're in on that new hype, that it's like you have to be reminded of, like, it's about the long game. And yes, you're not getting these, but it's the vintage stuff to
great
me.
Point. That's a great point.
It holds the value. If you are out for the quick chase, you can do it. There's a hustle to it, and that's fine, and have fun doing it. But like, I think in the long run, at the end of the day, like in 20, 30 years, I feel like I'm a broken record, but like, this is the stuff that 20 years ago was worth something. It's the stuff that 20 years from now is going to be worth something.
Like you said, not to sound like a broken record, but like I said, the same thing. Ever since I've been back in the hobby, these iconic cards are the same ones that people always at the end of the day. And it's funny, like you said, we're getting hyped about the LeBron, like Golden and all these other auctions that are like hyping up these more current cards and the Wanders and all that stuff. But it's like, and then the freaking vintage comes in and just again slaps everybody in the face like, yo, this is what you actually should.
Well,
be
and
buying.
that's what I should. I mean, I want to try to do, and I've done it a little bit. Is like you get these Trevor Lawrences and stuff, and work your way up to maybe saving to buy the Brady. That's like the pinnacle of it all. Is like being able to get those cards, maybe flip them, and then save it, and then like. It's like kind of like, getting a gold bar. You're like, hey, I got a little bit, and then I got enough to get a gold bar now. Let's buy the gold bar. But, it's in terms of football, and we're about to get into the 2021 QBs. So we're going to kind of flip the script on that. But, like, what's the second? Like, we can arguably say that this Brady is probably the best football card of all time. I mean, I don't know. Vintage collectors might say no. But, like, what's second? What's third? What other card is? What's next? Like, I feel like it's like this is above and beyond anything even close. Like, there's not even a close second.
I think it would have to be something vintage.
Like Jim Brown.
I was going to say there's a lot of folks who like the Jim Browns. You could go with Walter Payton.
Some of those super rare vintage football cards, right?
But even the Joe Montana doesn't sell for as much.
No,
right?
No, that's
overproduced.
I don't think
a
that was.
little
Yeah,
bit.
I don't think that was rare enough. When people probably point to some of the biggest football cards add to your as an investment thing, like they always point out to those.
But those guys are running backs, right? There's not. What are the quarterbacks
Quarterback-wise,
close?
yeah.
Bart Starr? I mean, even Terry Bradshaw.
It's got to be. I mean, it's got to be like the real vintage stuff. You have to go way back. Like, I can't even think right off the top of my head.
Who's second in the last 22 years?
Manning?
I was gonna say Manning, but like there isn't an. I can't think of like what's the first Manning card you think?
Contenders.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But
And then same thing with Rodgers, maybe. Breeze.
Rodgers might be the other guy in the modern, but again, he's for what he's accomplished, his value is not quite where it probably
One
should be.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, but what? I mean, a whole shelf full of MVPs, and statistically, you could make an argument the best quarterback that we've ever seen in some seasons.
So Rodgers contenders, second to the Brady contenders. I mean, that's. I feel like that's like a whole like Brady or lapped him like 10 times.
I feel like that scene in
Brady
Moneyball.
lapped everybody 10 times.
I feel like that scene in Moneyball where it's like, here's Tom Brady, and a whole pile of S, and then here's the rest.
Right, like there's no. I mean, you got Mahomes. It's like coming up. I mean,
And at one point he was scarily approaching Brady contender prices at one point a couple years ago, and I'm like
That was
just
good.
shaking my head.
Yeah.
what one chip and what was he in 4 AFC championships?
He's now been in 4 straight. Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I get it. He's been on a tear for his young career, but like for his prices to be even close to Brady at one point, like blows my mind.
Yeah, I know. I think I sold the contenders for like $1,400 running over it. But yeah, I wanted to talk about, is it time to sell the 2021 QBs? We're in a year unlike any other year. Because for one, we have Select coming out, and it's on Mojobreak.com right now. If you guys want to get your teams in a 4-box Select hobby, which is coming out at the end of the year, it's gonna be the first year that we have XRCs that we know what teams they're on. For one, pack pull them.
That's true.
We know what team the XRCs are on.
That's true.
But the reason I'm saying that is because we're literally gonna get into the 2022 season, and we're still having crossover of good 2021 products, which has been unlike any other season of the last
never
10,
really
15 years.
happened.
Right? So I think that's helped the hype. I think the season ended, and you have Lawrence knocking out the Colts. So they're like, all right, he left on a note that there's a lot of promise. People believe in Zach Wilson for whatever reason. People believe in Justin Fields. It's like this year, unlike any other, it's like the offseason did not hurt these guys. It's like the hype is still continuing. And I feel like a lot of people are going to get burned on, if not 5 out of 5 of these guys, probably 4 out of 5 of these guys. I honestly feel that most of these prices are at their peak now. And that's personally me. I think these guys, I think you can point to Lance. I'm a homer. You can point to Lance being in probably the best situation with arguably a top defense in the league. The Niners got better at defense, but he may have rookie struggles. They're probably ranked the best out of all of them. Maybe them and the Patriots as far as preseason rankings.
Patriots, I'd say, yeah.
Patriots and Niners. But, I mean, are the Jags, the Jets, or the Bears going to make the playoffs?
I feel like, I mean, if you're asking our opinions on is it time to sell 2020 quarterbacks, there's some guys that I think you should definitely sell. There's some guys that I think it might be worth holding. So I don't know if we're going to get into that. But, yeah, in terms of those three teams, I don't think the Bears are going to make the playoffs. I highly doubt the Jaguars are going to make the playoffs. And I give Jets a very small chance just because they have been drafting really well. And I mean, obviously, that was your former coach over there, and I think he's a pretty good coach.
There was some big news that they might lose. Mekhi Becton has a bone chip in his knee.
Yeah, that'd be big.
He's huge. Like their Pro Bowl offensive lineman, their standout first rounder.
And they needed they had a lot of protection problems last year. So
yeah, so that he may be out. They're saying if it is a bone fracture in his knee, he's out for the year. So
yeah, so I give Jets a small, slim chance. So there's my answer right there. Like Trey Lance, I would feel comfortable right now not necessarily selling Trey Lance, Mac, and to a smaller extent Zach Wilson. I would, however, probably be selling Trevor Lawrence, and so I would especially be trying to sell Justin Fields around. He's the one that I believe is the one that you should definitely sell the most, because out of all five of those teams, the Bears are, like, to me, look like they're going to be the worst of the five.
Yeah, we've got some data here too, just to kind of back it up. And Cody, we did the XRCs because we were able to find data on those. And you can actually already see that it's kind of trended down on the XRCs have trended down on Mac Jones. For the XRCs, they've trended down already on Trevor Lawrence. They trended down on. I mean, most of the market is anyway. So right now, some of these Eminence just came out. National Treasures, about a month ago. Flawless about 2-3 weeks ago. So those cards are still going for big money because they're still kind of new.
Yep.
Right. So this is kind of proof here that if you look at the XRCs, that the XRC is kind of old news, right? And I think these cards might become old news as well. Now, you do have the benefit of you only have Kenny Pickett to kind of really worry about rookie-wise. Now, I don't know, maybe Matt Corral plays. Maybe some other guy, the guy from Tennessee plays. What's the guy from Tennessee's name again?
Willis.
Malik Willis.
But you don't have a big class coming in, so... But, what do these guys individually have to do for their high-end cards to go up? Do they all do you have to make the playoffs, right? Is second year making the playoffs, is that good enough? Or can they go 8-8 and their cards still go up?
I mean, I think you saw it last year that, yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, you have Burrow and Herbert, who I think we can say... Yeah, I mean, they are kind of an exception. That is very exceptional. It's very rare to get two guys playing at that high of a level in their second year, but it shows it can happen. A guy goes to the Super Bowl, another guy...
Burrow's knocking on the door. He almost won his damn first championship.
Yeah, if he had won it, it would have been just stupid prices all off season long. But, yeah, it's I don't think it's that far off where one of these... Can two of these guys make the playoffs and up their value? One of them made the playoffs last year. Trey Lance, you said it, he's in a good situation. I think also for Lance, though, the thing that benefits him, and it's the thing we've been saying all along with him, is that it's what we don't know that's really helping him. We just don't know what he can offer, and it's been a kind of a roller coaster ride. If you've been following the practices, there's some day the first couple days it was like, what have the Niners done?
Yesterday was really good, supposedly.
Right, and then the last couple days he looks like okay, they've made the right decision, and obviously getting the full sign off of you are a guy really helps as well. But yeah, that's really the thing, and if he comes out and craps the bed in the first couple games, that stuff's gonna fall
and he's
off
by far the most raw. I mean, we're talking about
Easily.
a guy that sat out the COVID season, and I think only played 17 college games. So,
Yeah.
you're talking about a guy that's like really, really, really raw compared to the rest of them. But he is in the best situation as far as team around him. And I know Dan here with the Stanford helmet would probably say no. But, I feel like he's the Niners linebackers. They just got the corner from the Chiefs, so they solidified the corners. Bosa's back, Armstead's back. If Kinlaw can have that defense could maybe hold teams to 7 to 10 points. And the Niners could just literally run the ball the whole game, possibly.
I do wish Dan was here so we could, because if rumors are to be believed, there is a slight chance that Jimmy Garoppolo may be heading to L.A. to be the backup
No
QB.
way.
And I just saw that floating around. It's probably not likely, but I saw it floating around.
Well, would you rather have him in Seattle or L.A.? I guess Seattle, right?
Well, Seattle
he'll play in Seattle.
Yeah, he ain't playing in L.A. He is the backup quarterback, and I don't think he wants that.
Yeah, what a crazy story. Like, he's still on the roster. I don't know if he's going to play. The game's Friday. I don't know if he's going to get any snaps.
Well, if you heard what Kyle Shanahan said, they said he's 4th on the depth chart right now, and basically just very bluntly put it, because we have to put him there. Like, we are trying to get rid of this guy.
They
he
said
knows
that
it.
they're going to sit through camp, and I guess right now they're hoping that somebody gets injured on another team, which we don't hope anybody gets injured.
Right.
But and then the Watson thing.
I was going to say, there's still clarification. We know that obviously the judge put down a decision about the Watson situation, but it sounds like the NFL is going to probably make that.
Goodell wants a longer, suspension.
1 year.
And that's frankly probably is going to happen.
And then Cleveland's gonna need who's their backup?
They're going to have they're going to have to do it. Jacoby Brissett would be the guy, but it's going to be Jimmy G.
But I think Jimmy G has a no trade clause, so I don't know
if he wants to go to Cleveland.
Cleveland's closer. He's from the Midwest. He's a Chicago guy, so I feel like that's close.
Yeah, they're not a bad team to go to.
No, not at all.
I mean, this is the Cleveland.
Well,
Browns.
now that he's been sitting on the depth chart,
Chris.
4th, and watching Trey Lance practice, maybe he'll just go anywhere at this point. Maybe it was a little different when he was, he was the man. But what a crazy situation with a guy that's been to an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl, is 4th on the depth chart and can't find a team.
Yep.
But that's wild. But yeah, back to these rookie quarterbacks. I also feel like we were talking about Burrow, and we've got some pictures of Burrow here. I feel like nobody's talking about him. The guy goes to the NFC, the Super Bowl for the AFC, represents the AFC in the Super Bowl, beats the Chiefs. And, like, we're talking about the rookies instead of him. Like, this guy should be literally what we've been talking about.
Should be.
I mean, I think that was the narrative in just as a whole. I remember maybe a month ago, ESPN put out an article about kind of the same thing. It's like, are people overlooking the Bengals and Joe Burrow, before the season even starts? Like, these guys literally went to the Super Bowl, like you said. I mean, going back to just real quick to the original question is like, what do the current 2021 rookies have to do? They have to do what Burrow did, essentially, to justify their prices or their prices going even higher, right? They have to make a deep run in the playoffs, if not even just go to the Super Bowl, kind of like what Patty Mahomes did, because that's the only time we've seen guys, or Josh Allen for that matter, like, he made a pretty deep run. Like, you have to make a deep run as a young quarterback for your prices to be justified, or for your prices to spike up some, you know what I mean? Otherwise, like, if all 5 of these guys don't make the playoffs, then
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, so I mean, I would definitely be selling. And interesting enough, we didn't mention the XRCs of Zach Wilson and Trey Lance, but as you can see on these slides, they actually went up. So they kind of started lower, though. Maybe that's the opinion, because if you look at the Trevor Lawrence starting at $2,000, went to $1,200. Mac Jones $4,200. Man, I feel bad for that guy. Down to $900. So these guys Zach Wilson started at $7,000, and now he's at $735 on these XRCs. And then
I think it went down. It went down to 700, but there was a weird little, like, it kind of fluxed. It was 735, but then started going down, and then something happened about a month and a half ago. Then whoop. Back up. Anyway, I'm not going to put that in anyone's mind, what I was just thinking.
I mean, I guess, I know what you're thinking there, too.
Doing that motion for the video and with everything going on with him, that's it. I'm leaving
he became as we watched in a video of some kids at the National that we played here a couple hours ago, He like became a cult hero for that, man.
Has.
You know, it's like the young guys all over the world. It's like Stifler's mom all over again. Remember Stifler's mom in our generation, and now it's like this guy's now become the hero of, and it's gross, but you know, I mean, it's just some kind of lore around him.
And it should be mentioned for something that is still not confirmed, that we're all just saying, oh yeah, Instagram comment, we're all taking it at face value.
Yeah, who could have just been somebody that just wanted to maybe ruin his reputation, or
we don't know.
He said no to or something, and now it's the lore. I mean, there's people actually getting jerseys with it on the back.
Wow.
Custom Jets jerseys, his number, and then Milfson on the back.
That's definitely the least shocking thing I've ever heard.
Can't buy a Ron Mexico Atlanta Falcons jersey, but you can buy a Milfson Jets jersey until they ban that one. So. You know what's shocking about these cards of some of these, you know, we're looking at Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow's silver prisms is the last sold for Josh Allen. Holy crap. Silver prism at $10K?
Holding strong.
Holding strong. People like Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly everybody's favorite to get to the Super Bowl, right? I mean, not everybody's, but like the general media and sports world, I believe that they could probably get back to the Super Bowl pretty easily.
Well, that game right there, the Chiefs-Bills game, was probably one of the most exciting games I'd ever
Hell
seen
yeah.
in 5 years.
Love that game.
That was incredible.
And it was a complete toss-up.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta admit, man, those playoffs in general were pretty exciting. Most games were pretty exciting, like all 3 weekends.
Niners games weren't that exciting, especially the Green Bay game.
I know they were not high scoring, but they were like the hinge points of the game were very, very exciting.
Yeah.
The block punts and all that.
Yeah, definitely. But I want to get into this last thing. I don't know if C-Rad's seen this video, so we're going to get a live reaction. So this happened at National. This is kind of a scam alert of things that could possibly happen when you're dealing with cards and stuff to watch out for.
Oh wait, I think I know what you're talking about.
Courtesy of card porn here, some stuff happened at the National. There was a live break, and it didn't quite go the way as planned, and kind of became kind of funny. I'm actually trying to find it now. I don't know why I can't find it.
I think I've seen it. You talking about the?
What's good, bro? All right, man.
Yeah, I think I did
Live
see
on
it.
Air Network, our breaker DSS was doing a Prism box, $15,000 box. Sealed.
Is that 12/13?
Private sale. They sell it out the break. They get ready to go live. They open up the box. Get the out of here, bro. Yes, check that out. What the
Good luck, everybody. Let's get right on into it.
You seen this?
I haven't seen this one.
Wow.
I haven't seen this one.
What's up, John? How we doing? This is the most expensive box I've ever broken. It's a $12,000 to $14,000 box. Wow.
It's like his soul left his body.
I hate to laugh.
2009 Topps basketball. We're
So
gonna
they made it right. They made it right. But the reason I wanted to bring this up for you guys is, buy from trusted dealers. I don't know where they bought this from. I'm assuming eBay. But if you're dealing with companies like Dave and Adams, who has Reed, who buys and goes and buys, and he's an expert on looking at things, they will refund you and take care of you. Now, Fatball's $516 on eBay, he sells you a $14,000 box of Prism. Sure, he's not going to give you a refund, and he's probably gone. I mean, and this is on a small scale. Obviously, the Logan Paul stuff, you're dealing with things that are, 15,000 is not even that much compared to some of these other boxes like Exquisite or something like that. That could be easily. I mean, they didn't really put much tampering stuff on these boxes back then, so you got to be very careful if you're thinking about buying sealed wax. I mean, not only that. You're dealing with products that had a case hit, and you're buying a single box.
Yep.
And then the guy got the case hit, and then sold the other boxes, right? So you've already been cherry picked. Maybe a situation with that where maybe you get a legit Prism box, but maybe the guy hit 2 golds out of the case already, decide to sell the rest. So just kind of a buyer beware. Do your research. Try to buy from if it's a great deal, it's probably too good to be true. Send the guy a message about where did you get this? What's the backstory? I mean, obviously people can lie, but I always like to do that if I'm buying something that's very rare. I try to get a backstory on how they have it. Like, oh, 0304 Chrome, how did you have this box? Oh, I had a case, or I bought this back in 0304 and I just didn't open it. I've held on to it. I bought it from a card shop. I have the receipt. That's another thing. Maybe if you can get them to give you the receipt too is another not everybody has receipts, but like some people do keep them and they show you that I bought this in 2012 from San Antonio Sports Card Plus and here's my receipt. You're like, okay, you feel a little bit better about it instead of going on camera and finding some Austin Powers cards in your $15,000 box.
Yeah.
We got duped.
Yeah, baby.
We got duped.
Sorry, just do my.
Austin Powers.
Oh, behave. Anyway.
Dude, he's been so unrelevant for like so many years. Michael Myers.
Have you watched Austin Powers recently?
No.
Oh man, gotta do it. It's
Still
classic.
amazing.
It's still so good.
Goldfinger was my favorite.
Goldfinger's solid, but nothing will beat that first one. Spy They're all good.
Yeah.
They're all
fun.
good. They're all good.
Was the first one where he had the car in the alley and he was backing it in, backing it out?
Yes, doing like the 70-100 point turn when the steamroller's coming, the guy goes no, and it's like 80 feet away. So great.
And the great Vern Troyer, rest in peace, I think.
I believe he shows up in the second one and the third one.
But I don't think he's with us though, right?
No,
Rest
he
in
passed
peace,
away.
Vern Troyer,
Passed
man.
away. Yeah.
But yeah. Michael Myers. What has Michael Myers done recently?
He had some show on Netflix that was apparently terrible. Guy's doing weird things. Popped up in Inglourious Bastards like 10 years ago and then kind of went silent again.
I want to say he was in a Super Bowl commercial, right? He did the Wayne's World Super Bowl commercial.
I love the guy. Literally in like I would say like 3 of like my maybe 10 or 15 favorite movies of all time. Wayne's World is one of my all-time favorites, and yet I've heard he's like notoriously difficult to work with. Like that's the reason he doesn't get much work anymore.
Here's a quick question: Jack Black or Michael Myers?
Ooh. I have to go Jack Black just because Tenacious D is one of my all-time favorites. I have to do it. It's tough though. It's not easy.
I don't like Tenacious. I can't do it. I know there's so many people love him. I just can't do it. I don't like the music. I don't know what it is. I don't like, I just can't do it. I do like Jack Black and what's the Army movie?
Oh, Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Love him in that.
I will say this. If Tenacious D didn't exist, Mike Myers pretty easily, but I'm such a Tenacious D fan that I have to pick him.
F 'em Hard was a good song, but
I like them both probably equally, but I do enjoy Jack Black movies in general.
Yeah.
Like Tropic Thunder was good, obviously, but even like his the dumb movies, like the ones that aren't really like
Nacho Libre.
Oh,
that was that one was pretty good.
Thank you. That's one of my top 10 movies of all time.
He borderlines too cheesy for me, like overdone comedy.
Oh, for sure. Like
he was good in that Rock movie too, where he played a girl.
Oh, what? What movie was that?
Not School of Rock, was it?
I was gonna say
not School of Rock.
Yeah.
The Rock. It was the Jungle remake.
Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Yeah, that was solid. Yeah, I thought he was pretty good.
Oh yeah, he did the voice because they took in the bodies, right?
Yes.
So
it's actually pretty funny.
He wasn't. It was supposed to be a girl that went into his body, so he played
like a teenage girl.
He was a teenage.
Yes,
funny.
that one.
They had them
good.
all play different, like like the Kevin Hart played like a football player, bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And The Rock was like a skinny, nerdy guy.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that was good. Well, I was just thinking, is Michael Myers the best? Jack Black is the best comparison to Michael Myers, or is there a better comparison?
I feel like the comparison to me is Sandler because they were both on SNL around the same time, and
Myers
then
and Sandler?
both of their careers took off around the same time. Where like literally '90s comedies were like Mike Myers, Adam Sandler.
Well, if that's the
They
case,
just
then I'm
dominated
choosing Adam Sandler all
I
day over
guess
him.
Adam Sandler.
See, that's one where I'm like, again,
Sandler has too many classics, bro.
Watch Austin Powers again. Watch Wayne's World again. Hell, watch Shrek again. I don't care. Knock yourself out.
Smoking a pancake? Yeah.
Those are not bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Sandler's still going though.
Although,
Mike Myers was the Shrek voice.
He
That's
was Shrek.
Right.
He was Shrek.
Oh, that was good too.
My bit again. Bring it full circle. Why he doesn't work anymore? It was supposed to be Chris Farley. Chris Farley passed away. They get Mike Myers. He records all the dialogue. At the end of it, he's like, you know what? I want to do a Scottish accent. And they had to re-record all the dialogue and redo the animation to match his voice.
Oh my god!
So yeah, he did not make a lot of friends, but it worked.
And those takes like 2 years to make the
Oh
animation.
yeah, and people were not happy.
Jeez, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, definitely got a lot off topic, but we like to talk about random stuff here on the show. But make sure you guys, yeah, baby. Make sure you guys hit subscribe here if you're watching on the video. Thank you guys for listening to the audio on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you guys are digesting that. We're also live on Whatnot doing breaks. Young Ty's doing breaks on Whatnot along with Young Greg. And we got obviously C-Rad here on Mojobreak.com, busted about on YouTube. We also got Cody on Loop. So if you're into some cards, check out those channels, and we'll see you guys next week on The Hype.